Hey Yagami, with Teen Wolf Review. This is episode 4. It's titled Unleashed. Okay, so the episode starts off with Scott assisting Dr. Deaton at the animal clinic, holding down a dog for an injection while his owner is fretting over the procedure. The dog name is Bullet, and owner tells him that all of his dogs have gun-related names because he's from a military family. Pay attention to that, he's from a military family. Scott pets him, and Bullet rolls over and presents his belly in a sign of submission. This prompts his owner to say, "Looks like he knows who the alpha is." This alarms Scott, and it seems to disturb Deaton. Because Scott is technically a beta, so his next up in the wolf, I guess you say, hierarchy would be an alpha. Outside, Bullet's owner attempts unsuccessfully to get the dog into his silver Toyota Corolla. Corolla. Yeah, there we go. Instead, the pup runs off between two warehouses. The owner follows and believes he's found the dog under a dumpster. When he reaches in, he gets bitten and blood wells on his hand. He then sees Bullet is sitting across the way. When he looks under the dumpster again, a voice whispers, "Closer, come closer." Scott discovers a single mistletoe berry while shifting through a sample of Bullet's stool. Deaton explains that the plant is poisonous to both dogs and humans. Scott then hears Bullet barking outside and goes to investigate. He finds the dog, but the owner is nowhere to be found. We go off to the school. We find Miss Blake finds Derek waiting in the classroom. She picks up a wooden pointer and wields it awkwardly as a defense. She fears he is there to intimidate her or to kill her to keep her silent about the events that happened in last episode, Fireflies. She reveals that her name is Jennifer and that she has been in psychotherapy. She and Derek discuss the Crucible, a play by Arthur Miller. Derek explains that it's an allegory for McCarthyism. She promises to never tell about what she's seen and seems nervous but a bit intrigued by Derek. Who wouldn't be intrigued by Derek? That's fine wolfiness. Then we have Styles wondering if the latest missing guy, Bullet's owner, was a virgin. Sky jokes that he's not because Deaton makes him have sex with all his clients. What the heck? Scott's stupid. I have sex with all his clients. Really, Scott? Really? He says it's a new policy at the animal clinic. Styles gets upset, pointing out that if the killer still have the virgins, he's in danger and needs to have sex immediately. This scene, I'm sorry, was so hilarious because Styles was like so freaking out because last 3 people was virgins, right? So he's like, "Oh my god, I need to have sex. I just need to have sex. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." So they end up now. Why is having this conversation? They're in the locker room, right? So Danny overhears him and he says that he'll do it. And he says Styles should come by his house around 9 and plan to stay the night because he likes to cuddle. Styles like, really? Styles, he's like, apparently Styles is willing to do anything just not to be a virgin anymore. He's like, "Are you serious?" And Danny says, "No, I'm joking." And Styles like, "Really, man, that hurt my feelings." I'm like, "Styles, it's not that serious." I'm just like, "It's not that serious, dude. It's not that serious." Wow. But that was hilarious, though. Isaac then returns to school, and coach Bobby Finstock welcomes him and explains that participation on cross-country team is mandatory for all lacrosse players because he doesn't want them to get fat in the off-season. This coach really knows how to pep his team up, doesn't he? Nike apparently provides the school's cross-country uniforms and gear. Outside a few minutes later, Isaac is lacing up his run shoes, and the Alpha twins, Ethan, that's the one in black, and Aiden is the one in burgundy. They stalk up to him on either side. When the whistle blows, everyone starts running with the Alphas way out in front. Oh, really? Y'all just try? Oh, that's you just show off. Can't use your wolf ability. It's cheating. It's cheating. Anyway. Scott tries to get him away, but Isaac chases after them. He loses sight of them again until one pushes him off down an embankment. They are lucky they would, because that would probably, another regular person probably get injured. They subdue him and are about to beat him when Scott shows up and punches Ethan hard, breaking his jaw. All four of them wolf out and prepare for battle until they are interrupted by a scream. They're running to the sword. They find a group of students surrounding the body of Bullet's owner. He has been killed in the same manner of the other 3. Throat cut, bludgeoned, and strangled with his dog leash. I'm like, dang, dude, that's messed up. Your dog leash. Ouch. The sheriff then arrives to take control of the scene, and Scott revealed that the victim was a senior. The victim's girlfriend arrives and starts crying. What the? Isaac is convinced that the Alpha twins knew something about the murder, and Styles believes that the killings don't involve werewolves due to the lack of, wolfitude. Scott is caught in the middle, but he believes both sides make good points, given the fact that they do look like, twin do look like up something, but then again, the idea of human sacrifice, Oh my goodness. Oh my god. So then we have we go over to Derek. He's talking to his sister Cora. She's working on his loft, and she doing her pull-ups, and then she doing push-ups. And there's pretty much, you can tell there's tension between between them all. Derek tells us to stop because, you don't want to work yourself out because she's not completely healed yet. And she's like, she wants to go after the alphas, and Derek's like, no. And then she gets all upset, saying she came by the time because she heard about the powerful new alpha of one of the hills, and that she's been waiting for this kind of news for a long time, and she didn't know Derek was alive either. But just because you mad don't mean you need to go after them. These alphas are strong. You won't be all gung ho. You was not Tomb Raider. You was not Tomb Raider. Alarm then sounds off, and Kali and Enos, I think that's pronounced the name, show up, and the four of them begin to fight. Enos quickly subdues Cora, and Kali beats Derek into submission before stabbing him through his lower back with a steel pipe. I mean, that was really unnecessary. You had to stab the girl. You ain't have to stab him, I'm just saying. You had to stab him. D comes in. I could never pronounce this dude's name. That's why I call him D. That's the mega alpha. That's what I'm gonna call him, the blind dude. He enters and explains what he wants. Derek assumes he wants to kill him, but D says he's offended. He said, "Don't throw me in with sociopaths like your uncle." He says he's gonna look out for new recruits, and he pretty much wants Derek to kill only one member of his pack, because he wants him to join him. He says he wants him to kill one, so and then he'll want to kill the rest, because he explained that how he accidentally discovered that killing one of his betas allowed him to absorb their power. And once he became blind, one of his betas felt he was no longer able to lead, so he tried to kill him and take control. He bested him, killed him, and found that he became faster and stronger because of it. He says Kali and Enos have both killed their entire packs. Kali says it was liberating. Crazy broad. She's a crazy bitch. Since she's a wolf, I'm gonna call her the B word. She's a crazy bitch. Okay. Then he tells Derek that Derek's pack is a couple of maladjusted teenagers are bound to become a liability. You don't know that just because they're teenagers. You don't know that. You don't know that. Don't be judging them because they're teens. Okay. Jesus. He was a teenager once. Allison then falls asleep in Mrs. Morel's French class, and as the teacher calls her name in French, Allison dreams it is her mother, Victoria Argent. Ooh. Shouting her name and snaps and wakes up. Once the rest of the class is gone, Allison and the teacher face off about the encounter in the episode Chaos Rising. Neither is willing to give the other information on why they both was in there in the first place, the bank. And so Miss Morel assigns lunchtime detention to Allison for sleeping in class. Mr. Harris is teaching inertia versus momentum, and Scott is trying to convince Isaac to wait to confront the Alpha twins, but Isaac stands up quickly and asks to be excused to go to the bathroom. Harris consents, but when Scott says he has to go, Harris refuses, saying that if Scott's bladder suddenly exploded and urine began to pour from every orifice, he still won't let him go. Like, really, dude? Damn. That teacher is mean. So then we have in the hall, we have Isaac confronting the twins, but Aiden begins beating his brother, Ethan. Now, this is where you should have known something was on. If you seen the other twin beat him and not doing anything, you should have left, not sit there and watch them. Like, why are you beating your brother? You know what I'm saying? I would have been left. So then he throws his brother at Isaac's feet. So when Harris and everybody else comes out, it looks like Isaac beat the crap out of him. They set you up. Then later in school, we see Scott and Isaac see Aiden flirt with Lydia, who turns him down for a date. Lydia obviously do not know this is an alpha. I don't see how you still don't figure out this dude is an alpha. Kind of like, come on, girl. Jesus. We then have Style at the sheriff's office, his dad's office. Style confronts Ashley, the girlfriend of the latest victim, and we learn that his name is Kyle, and Style wants to know if he was a virgin. She slaps him, but he says he was not a virgin. His dad then yells at him for interfering, pointing out that the FBI has come to town because they have a full-blown serial killer on hands. And Styles is trying to figure out the pattern. So the first three is virgin, and this one is not. So he has to try to figure out what's the pattern going on here. Because almost every serial killer has a pattern that, that you could try to pretty much track them down with. They all have, so he's trying to find it. Lunchtime detention finds Allison paired with Isaac. She asks him not to mention that she was at a school during episode 5 hours. He's still angry at her about stabbing him with knives. And she says, they weren't actually knives, they were Chinese ring daggers. I'm like, okay, so what? And now you still stabbed them. Saying they're Chinese ring daggers is not gonna make it sound okay, Allison? You still stabbed the dude 20 times. You're lucky he didn't freaking rip your throat out. So they eventually end up getting locked into the janitor's supply closet because they push the soda machine behind so they can't against the door, blocking even Isaac's enhanced strength freedom. So he starts to panic because his father used to lock him up in a chest freezer. So he starts flashbacks, start panicking. So he eventually wolfs up and turns on Allison. Then before he even has a chance to fully attack her, Sky comes in, pulls Isaac off him, pretty much calms her down. And Sky and Isaac plan to get the Alpha twins angry. So next we skip over to a makeshift memorial that has been set up at Kyle's locker. Boyd approaches and pins up an Air Force ROTC patch attached to a note with a car across into the blue written in a Sharpie. Styles greets him and mentions that he didn't know he was back at school, and Boyd says, well, we're not friends, so why would I tell you? He explains that he and Kyle were in ROTC together, and Styles concludes they must have been friends, but Boyd says he only had one friend and she's dead. Styles then explains to Lydia that there is a temple in Calcutta, India, where they once sacrificed a baby every day. Every day was dead baby day. She still doesn't get why he's telling her about human sacrifices, and he explains that Sky is dealing with the Alpha twins. She doesn't know about the Alpha twins, but pretends that she does. You're trying to, the one that keeps asking you out, you might want to know who the Alpha twins is. So Styles then lays out his theory, pointing out that the sacrifices are coming in threes. 3 virgins, then 3 of something else, which will explain why Kyle was killed even though he was a virgin. Lydia points out that's impossible to discern a pattern from a single data point, meaning they will need another victim before a pattern could be established. Lydia says maybe it's not Styles' job and maybe he should leave the investigation of this human crime to the human sheriff. Allison hotwires one of the twins, MV Augustus, motorbikes and give Isaac a quick lesson how to ride it. Now, I would say that would be the best way to get back at them. Mess with their bike. That bike. I don't know what it's about dudes and cars and bikes. I don't know about it, but you mess with it, it pisses them off. Scott then arrives in Miss Blake's class and begins popping motorcycle parts out of his backpack in front of the twins, just like, you know what, I really don't know what this part does. He's just like messing with them. And so on the hallway, Isaac speeds along on the stolen motorcycle. Aiden becomes ticked off and rushes out into the hallway and stops the speeding bike with his bare hands and demands that Isaac get off. Isaac does by flipping over Aiden and leaving Alpha holding the bike as the students and Mrs. Blake rush out to the hallway to see what's happening. The teacher says that Aiden will be suspended. Back in the loft, Duquesne, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yes. Okay. Touches Derek's face and says that Kylie was right. He looks like his mother. Derek's the steel pipe is still in Betty's turtle, and he says I forgot his name already. Duquesne is a fanatic, and the leader of the Alpha explains that Derek has never seen anything like him before. He then launches into the following speech accompanied by lightning and thunder from an approaching storm. I am the Alpha of Alphas. I am the apex of apex predators. I am death, destroyer of worlds. I am the demon wolf. Me. Dude, you guys, he has such a big ego right now. Don't you hate when evil villains start monologuing? It's like, oh my gosh, shut up. It's like you're kind of full of yourself. I am the Alpha of Alphas. To me, I was like, oh my god, he is so full of himself right now. Like, somebody just shut him up. Because that's what it sounds like to me. Every time you got that villain, you always want to go, I am the such and such. I'm like, shut up. It's like you want to do that moment in the Avengers movie when Loki was talking about, I am a gun, and the Hulk just grabbed him and just started banging him against the ground, against the floor. That's kind of like what you want to do with him right now. Like, oh my god, shut up, shut up, shut up. Ugh. So, as he says the last line, I'm a demon wolf, his voice rises in volume to the point that his dark glasses crack. I'm like, okay. Kylie removes the pipe out of Derek. He collapses on the floor because he's going to have to heal all that up. We have Lydia drawing a tree with a pen, black and barren branches, Ben and Trish cross about the page. Danny comes up to her and says, your drawing is good. You should be in art class. And Lydia's kind of distracted. And Danny then points out that she's in a music classroom and that she's surrounded by students with various instruments. Danny holds a trumpet. Lydia clearly has no idea how she got there. And someone then shouts out, 15 minutes, and Danny explains that they waited for the teacher for 15 minutes and can now leave because he didn't show up. So everybody leaves except for Lydia, and she notices the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 that is propped up on the piano. She realizes that the device is still recording and hits playback. We hear the teacher playing piano and then a discordant note, and then the playing abruptly stops. Then Lydia hears chanting on the recording. It's the same chanting we the audience here when we have during each previous. So every time you see a murder, it's chanting dun 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 dun. It's kind of like the chanting going on. We have Styles going to see Dr. Deaton and says that his father is handicapped in his investigation because he doesn't know that supernatural stuff is going on around him. And he explains that he found everything about the motor so far seems to point to Druids, an ancient religious class which little is known but much is imagined and speculated because they said the Druids, I had looked it up myself, they said Druids didn't do much of writing stuff, writing stuff down, like kind of like how other cultures did, because even with their mythologies, like I'm reading my mythology book, like I said, they didn't write much stuff down. So much stuff, yes, we kind of speculate of what certain aspects of their society was like because we truly don't know. He then draws comparisons to a real case of human sacrifice discovered in England called the Lindow Man, an ancient body discovered in 1984 in England with mistletoe pollen in the stomach and the same threefold injuries of the recent murders in Beacon Hills. Styles points out that Deaton knows a lot was going on about her, but he's not telling anybody. And Deaton explains that he spent every moment of the past 10 years trying to push something away, and that denying about it and lying about it has become pretty much a habit. You're used to doing something all the time. You're not really going to realize that you're doing it. And then Deaton explains that the killer is not a druid, but is simply copying the centuries-old practices of a people who should have known better. He then goes and says that the word druid in Gaelic means wise oak. They were close to nature, they were philosophers and not serial killers. Styles then gets a call from Lydia, who tells him that the music teacher has been taken. We have Deaton and Styles John head to school, and they listen to the chanting, and Deaton asks for a copy, so Lydia makes one and uploads it to the Dropbox. Okay. He explains to Styles that each grouping of 3 would have to have its own purpose. He lists virgins, healers, philosophers, and warriors. So we had the 3 virgins the first time, so we just need the healers, the philosophers, and the warriors. So Styles stops him having found a picture of the music teacher in military uniform, and remember that Kyle was in junior ROTC, so that would be our warriors. Because, we don't call them warriors today, we call them soldiers. And so they immediately think of boys since he too is in ROTC, but then later remembers that Mr. Harris has a military connection as well. In his classroom, Mr. Harris has graded papers when the chanting begins. I'm like, oh snap, you gone. It was nice knowing you. In the hallway, Isaac and Scott are confronted by Ethan and Aiden, who strip down and murder into the Hulk Alpha, that's what I call him, the Hulk Alpha. They run from the giant, but he easily catches them and tosses them down the hallway. Demon Alpha, Demon Wolf comes in and says, pretty much kind of does his alpha thing, gets him to stop. And, they leave off with him. Back in the classroom, Mr. Harris' classroom, Deaton, Lydia, and Styles search for clues. They found a test graded with the R and another graded H. They put it together and formed the word Darach. I'm trying to pronounce this. It's Darach, which Deaton explains that means dark oak. That was how the Druids described one who went down the wrong path. Derek, go over to Derek. He tells Isaac that he has to move out of the loft, and when he makes excuses, claiming having both Cora and he under the same roof is just too much. When Isaac protests, Derek throws a glass at him that shatters on a wooden beam near his face. Near tears, Isaac does as Derek commands while Cora listens out of sight. Isaac goes to Scott's house. In the pouring rain, Adrian Harris is tied to a tree. He begs for his life, telling the killer that I did what you asked. I did everything. They're gonna figure this out and they're gonna find you. You still need me. With that, the killer twisted the stick, tightening the guard rope around Harris's neck, killing him. So that would be, let's see, what, 2, or that'll be 3 already of warriors. So that means we just need so we got the virgins, we got our warriors, we just need the philosopher and a healer because they're doing everything in 3s. So I wonder who the healer's gonna be. Ooh, might be Deaton because he's a doctor for veterinarian, but it's still a doctor, so he might go after him for a healer. Ooh. Now for philosophers, I don't know who that might be. So anyway, that was the review for episode 4, Unleashed, of Teen Wolf. That was pretty good. You know, we get more on the background about this human sacrifice thing, and then there's the Alpha situation. I'm curious to who's doing this killing though. I'm curious because they practicing human sacrifice from the druids and stuff. It's just crazy. I was watching with Mama last night. She was like, "What the hell?" My mom's funny. So next week's episode will be titled Frayed. And that will be episode 5. So I will see you guys next Monday. Deuces!